Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about handheld gaming. Is it actually worth it? Is it decent? We're going to compare between the Steam Deck, the Ally, the Legion, and the new Switch 2. Alright everybody, welcome back. So, as I said, we're going to be comparing a lot of consoles today. Now, if you are just looking at getting into the handheld PC gaming space, or maybe you don't care about PC gaming as much, but just want a really good experience with handheld gaming, well, that's basically what this video is for. I'm going to go through the pros and cons of each console, kind of what each console comes with, the bang for your buck, and you can kind of decide for yourselves from this what you think is going to be the best option for you. And if you stay tuned until the end, I'll tell you which one's been my favorite so far. So we'll start out with the ROG Ally, because this is the console that I am the most familiar with. Now, the ROG Ally has a really good ergonomic feel, and it does come basically with no screen protector on it. Right now, if the screen looks gross, it has my D brand screen protector on it, and I actually really like the D brand screen protector. I think it's excellent. The Ally boasts some pretty impressive specs. It has the AMD Z1 processor. Now, this isn't the new ROG Ally X1, or ROG Ally X. This is the original ROG Ally Z1 Extreme, and as you can tell here, it has the USB-C port up top, an SD card slot, and then it's got an adapter for like an external GPU or docking station that you can plug in there too, with a proprietary port that handles that. So it also has a headphone jack. There's a fingerprint reader built into the power button here. And then we can kind of go from this point. On the bottom, there's really no I/O there. It's just your serial number and that kind of information. Flipping around to the buttons here while it boots up here, we've got our control stick on the left, our control joystick on the left, and our control joystick on the right. Feels really nice. Now it says my fingerprint couldn't be recognized. Let's try that again. See if it works. There we go. Now I'm logging in. And then you've got your D-pad right here, of course. Now these are the 4 buttons that do some pretty unique things, okay? So you're going to notice first and foremost that when I start this up, it puts you into kind of an experience. Now this is your, I don't know, is it Armory Crate? Is that what it's called on this? I think it is. I think it's called Armory Crate. Hang on. Yeah, it's Armory Crate SE. So if you open it, if you press this button right here on the lower right, it's actually the button for Armory Crate. Now, Armory Crate allows you to launch into your different services like Steam, Xbox Cloud Gaming, EA, GOG Galaxy, whatever that is. I actually don't know what that is, and then Ubisoft Connect. I'll tell you right now, the most common one I use is just Steam, just because there's not really much other use for me when it comes to my handheld gaming. I do have some games in EA, but I rarely use them, and I definitely don't play them handheld. If you continue to go to the right by pressing the RB button, you get your different control modes where you can set up your lighting and everything like that. You'll notice that since we booted this up, that the joysticks have actually turned off the light that goes with them. I did that on purpose because I play this a lot in bed with my wife, and that really wakes her up and disturbs her. Again, you can go into more stuff here. This is Help Center Game Deals. I don't know, that's a kill switch accessory offer for it. And I honestly don't know what that is, what that's supposed to be. I think this is where your screenshots and your gameplay screenshots are taken. And then here you can go in and look at the information on your game profile, but I don't have that set up. So going from there, you can actually pop out the control panel here on the left. we're going to go to this left button here. That basically allows you to change what mode everything is operating in. So when I plug this guy in, we typically operate in a higher mode than this. So there's a silent mode, there's a performance mode, and there's turbo, and that's kind of it. Those are the preset profiles that come with the Ally. You can, of course, customize that to however you want to. You're going to get more and less battery life depending on what you decide to do. Keyboard, I don't have one. Show desktop, yes. You can always just hit this button here and select show desktop, and it'll take you right back to your desktop. But then you can also just relaunch your Armory Crate by pressing over here. Okay. Enabled is embedded controller. You always want to leave that enabled unless you're just setting this on tabletop. Now, this doesn't have a kickstand, so if you want to set this on a tabletop, you can use the little paper kickstand that came with it, or be like me. I actually found a 3D printed option, and I like to set it like that. It blocks a little bit of the screen at the bottom, but it's not the worst thing in the world. So, no kickstand if you want to play tabletop. Unless you use the little paper one that came with it, which is kind of cheap and doesn't, I mean, it works fine, but it doesn't, it's not my favorite. Control pad, or gamepad, is the control mode right now, which basically means that instead of moving a mouse around the screen, if you go to, if you press off of that, you'll see that, well, actually here, I'll just show you. It should work. Nope, since we're still in Armory Crate, it's going to show that. But yeah, so you see how the mouse is moving across the screen right now? If I go to gamepad mode and then I collapse this, you'll notice that the mouse is no longer present. It just doesn't appear on the desktop when you do that. So we'll go back into the settings here, and then of course you can set individual profiles for your games if you want to, an FPS limiter, real-time monitor, etc. So it's pretty nifty. I really enjoy that. The option to have everything right at your fingertips like that makes it super simple. And then this is your app switcher right here up in the upper left. I only have one app open currently, so it's not actually doing much right now. But what I'll do is I'll press here and I'll say show desktop, and then we'll just launch, say, the Xbox app, for example, and then that should show you. It should show you, but it doesn't. It also occurs to me that my camera is a little high, so I'm sorry about that. Let me lower that for you guys. Okay, well, the app switcher is not working at the moment, and that's fine. That actually might just be the screenshot button to screenshot things for when you're in game, so it might not have serve any real function. I don't really ever use this button, so I can't tell you that much. When I use this system, I gotta say, I think this is probably, so far, my favorite one. And I'll kind of explain why later, but as far as battery life goes, I will say this is probably not the best device that you'll own as far as battery life goes, but it's one of the better ones, especially since it's so easy to manage all of your settings right here. If you just play it on 10-watt silent operating mode, you can get a pretty decent time of gaming on it. I'm not going to share too much about the actual gaming experience just because I don't have a ton of games on here at the moment. I wound up upgrading my SSD to something a little larger. When I originally purchased this, this was the 500 gigabyte version, I believe. So let's see, we'll go to show desktop, and then I think here we'll just launch Brotato here. That's a pretty easy one. And again, if you're noticing a lot of reflection, it's just simply because of the screen protector. An error occurred while launching this game. Corrupt download. Okay, so like I said, I recently installed an upgraded SSD in this guy, and I haven't done a whole lot with it since then. I was playing on, like I said, a 500 gigabyte SSD, but I haven't played this console for quite a while. Again, not because it's a bad console, I've just been a busy person. So we're gonna set this one aside. I do want to let you guys know this does run Windows 11, and there is at least one other console here that runs Windows 11, and a lot of people see that as kind of a setback when it comes to what you actually get with the console. Running Windows is not the most, how do I say this, user-friendly experience, especially when it's in this form factor. Now I know that Microsoft is partnering with partnering with Asus to come out with an Xbox handheld later this year that hopefully aims to address some of those issues, because Windows on a handheld is just clunky and doesn't work well. As you can see, there's people playing Monster Hunter here. One of my friends is playing Monster Hunter. But, you know, you still have all of your standard size icons. This doesn't even optimize for touch, which I think is really funny, because I've seen laptops that perform, that optimize for touch better than this has optimized for touch. So, what comes with the console? That's the next question. That's kind of the value add thing. The only thing that comes with the ROG Ally is a charger, and the charger is a fairly standard one. I went out and I purchased this one because I knew I was going to be working on the thing, and since it only has one USB port, I purchased the charger that has the USB port built into it. That way I could put a Windows USB in here and actually install a fresh copy of Windows on my new SSD that I installed. So, and this also has an HDMI port here as well, so you can output your screen to another device. So, I purchased a case in addition. A case does not come with the ROG Ally. There's no protection for it whatsoever when you purchase the console. You're basically expected to purchase the upgrades, but the cost of the console was low enough for me. I got it open box, I believe, for $5.59, $5.99, something like that. It was a really good value at the time, and I've really enjoyed this. If you're going to mod this at all, just be aware there is a light sensor in the back of this. If you look at any of my other videos on YouTube, you'll see that I actually had a bit of a struggle with this particular console because it was not functioning for a while. And the reason it wasn't functioning is because I had a transparent back on it. And when you have a transparent back on it, it keeps that light sensor triggered all the time, and then it doesn't start up because it's kind of a tamper protection is what I'll call it. So that's important to note too. If you mod it, just make sure that you need to cover that light sensor in the back in order for it to even charge, because it doesn't want to be messed with while it's open, because it doesn't want to have power to it while it's open. So that's why it does that. The next console we're going to talk about this morning is the Steam Deck. Now, the Steam Deck is the newest addition to my arsenal here. And the reason it's the newest edition is because of the video that you guys saw me create a couple weeks ago where I did a repair on the Steam Deck. I really liked the look and feel of the Steam Deck, and I actually kind of just purchased the Steam Deck for this video specifically so I could show you guys. But I know I'll get a lot of use out of it because it's actually a pretty fun console. Now, I have purchased here not the OLED version, this is just the LCD version, and I do still find it a really great value. The processor that's in this is actually really excellent. I downloaded just a couple of games to it because the version that I purchased of the Steam Deck is a 256 gig version. Now, the 256 gig version is the cheapest version that you can get, and I believe that starts at, let me get my prices right here because I don't want to give you guys the wrong information. Whatever, I don't have it up right now. That's a lot of work to try to pull it up, so I'll just put the price on the screen, like right up here in the corner for you, so you can actually see. Okay, see the price? Cool. For the 256 gig version, you end up with a pretty decent value because you still get a full console, and you can install a few games. Now, the reason that I say a few games is because most of the big titles that you're going to want to play are not going to be, how do I say this? They're going to be big. They're going to be large in size, right? So Brotato is a small game, so is Portal, and so is You Suck at Parking. Those are the three games I have installed on here so far, and yeah, Brotato, I'll give you just a quick synopsis. The mechanism for playing this runs Steam Deck OS, or not Steam Deck OS, but Steam OS, which is actually a really awesome proprietary version of Linux that the Steam Deck runs. A lot of people tend to like that a little more. The gaming experience on this is pretty nice. It actually feels really intuitive because all of your controls are right here. If you look at the other console here that we just looked at, the ROG Ally, the thumbsticks are actually kind of opposite of each other, whereas on the Steam Deck they're exactly opposite of each other. You've got the offset down a little lower, so your right control stick on the Ally is below the AVXY buttons, and the control stick on the Steam Deck is right next to the AVXY buttons, but it doesn't feel bad. Okay, so we'll say start on Brotato. We'll pick a character. Sure, we'll go with the crazy character, and we'll give him a crazy sharp tooth to kill things with, and we'll start. Alright, so, and it's very responsive, very good for the price that you pay for this console, which again I put up there. I believe that it was $399, so I'll just say that it was $399 and we'll roll with that. So at $399, it's been a good console. I've only had it for a few days. I really enjoyed the experience though so far. I feel like it holds a little better in the hand than the Ally does. Of course, I have a large hand, and it feels really good. It feels really good. It's weighted just about perfect, and it has a lot of, I don't know, like I said, it's just responsive. Everything is snappy with the SteamOS. I don't have to wait for clunky windows to recognize my fingerprint. You just boot up, you select your game, and then you're off to the races. And you saw how much faster that was than even trying to just get something going on the Ally here, right? So let's see, what do we want for our item next? We'll do a hedgehog, and we'll say go for wave 2. All right, so then we just start killing things as Brotato. So I really love this console. I could see this actually becoming my main driver now, especially after I install the upgrade that I purchased for it, which you guys might already know what I'm talking about when I say that. So if you press the Steam button here, it'll just take you back to your Steam menu. It won't necessarily take you out of your game. You can go to like do your controller settings and things, or you can just exit your game. So a nice thing about SteamOS here is that it's got some really good, hang on, we'll go here. So this is the part that I'm having a little bit of a hard time figuring out, is when I want to exit my game, it's actually a little more difficult. Steam. Okay, so I'm just gonna say end the run. Yep, and we'll go to the Steam menu again, and I don't necessarily want to, we'll just say home, and that'll take you back. I don't like having to use the touch all the time. I like these, I also really like these because it's like a mouse built into it, but I haven't really quite figured out the use for these yet. So if you are a seasoned Steam Deck gamer, let me know. Like I said, I think this console is great. Again, we'll kind of go over the I/O here real quick. You've got volume plus and minus. We've got the headphone jack and the single USB-C at the top. On the bottom now, we've got our micro SD card slot, and that's all there is to it. The actual profile of it is very interesting. You've got your R4, R5, L4, and L5 buttons on the back here. You've got an air intake on the back, so I wouldn't advise setting it on your lap, otherwise Steam Deck will get pretty hot pretty quick. The repairability of this thing is excellent. I was able to remove the motherboard and replace a screen on another one not that long ago, and it went very smooth. So I'll just say that I think the Steam Deck is a good quality console. Its limitations are basically that everything has to run in Steam. So if you do have like an EA based game, I don't know that it will work 100% on this, because you have to install an EA app. I can't imagine why an EA app wouldn't work, but I'm also Like I said, not a seasoned Steam Deck person, so I don't know everything about this console yet because I haven't used it a ton. All right, so we're gonna take this and we're gonna set this aside for now. The value adds that you do get with the Steam Deck, you can probably tell already, I have another 3D printed stand because the Steam Deck, it just doesn't come with one. And now I don't expect everything to have a kickstand. You know, realistically, you're probably not setting your handheld console on a desk and playing games with it with a third-party controller. I don't even know if this has the option. I have to imagine it would. I think it's Bluetooth capable, and I think there are ways to pair controllers in the settings in this. You can see my 2 terabyte SSD here is the upgrade that I purchased for my Steam Deck, so I'm actually going to make use of that. You get a charge cord, and that charge cord is fairly basic. It doesn't come with a wrapper to keep the charge cord nice and neat. So if you are looking for a way to keep your charge cords nice and neat, ltcstore.com. Get yourself these wraps, they're excellent. Okay, Steam Deck also comes with a case. So, and it's a very nice case. It kind of keeps your joysticks locked in place. It has a nice indentation here. It's got a carrying handle, and then on the back, I think it's some kind of a strap, so you can strap it to something if you want to, and just have it available to you. So, Steam Deck has, I think it's a really great value. There are definitely things that it doesn't have that the Ally does, and vice versa. You know, I would say if I had to choose, I'd say that the two are fairly comparable consoles the way that it sits right now. Again, this is not the top of the line Ally. There is a newer Ally X out there, and it has and boasts more features, but it's about $900. So most of these consoles that you're seeing here range in between like $400 to $600. Okay, nothing too crazy. So again, Steam Deck, you get a charge cord, a case, and the console. All right, easy. The next one that we're going to talk about today is probably, if I had to rank it in my list of favorites, probably like, oh, I don't know, my third favorite. And the reason I say that is because it's just different. Okay, it runs Windows just like the ROG Ally does. This is called the Lenovo Legion GO, and the Lenovo Legion GO, or I guess it's not the, yeah, it is the Legion GO. The Lenovo Legion GO is unique in a couple of ways. Okay, first of all, it's the first handheld console aside from the original Switch that has a kickstand on it. Okay, so it'll sit itself up with no issues. Okay, you really don't have anything to worry about there. It's pretty solid. Now, you don't have the fingerprint scanner that you would have on the Ally, and that's just what it is. You know, it's just a feature of the console that's just not there. Another aspect of this that you have to keep in mind too is that there are different sizes of SSDs that do come with each of these. You can buy upgraded packages. I tend to stick with the fairly basic ones. This console for me, I believe this one was $650. I bought this open box just like I bought my Ally open box, and this console has the mouse right here, and that lives separately of the joysticks, whereas on the Ally the joysticks become the mouse, so you have to switch modes that way. Another really cool feature of this console, and we'll see if I can make it happen while I have you guys on screen here, is that the joysticks actually remove, and it is kind of like a switch in that way. I can never seem to get this because I'm... My goodness, there's a locking mechanism on these, and it's harder to do when the joystick, the kickstand is pulled up, but... Anyway, these joysticks do remove. I promise they do. The mechanism is right here, and while it's nice that they remove, the mechanism kind of sucks. Like I've said, it's not that I'm too stupid to figure it out. I've done it multiple times. It's just not easy to get them off, and then it's not easy to put them back on. So they make it seem like it's going to be a piece of cake. It really isn't. The Legion Go, the best thing that it has going for it is it's like 8-inch screen. It's amazing. It's very colorful, it's very beautiful, and it has a lot of cool features packed into it. This console comes with, you've got a USB-C on the top, a micro SD card slot. On the bottom, you have another USB-C, and given that this released about the same time as the Steam Deck and the Ally, the original Ally Z1 here, I actually find this to be more advanced in just about every way. Now, you're also going to notice a difference with the weight. This guy is definitely heavier. This console is made out of metal or aluminum and has higher quality materials that were used to create it. That being said, the grips on it make up for that. The console is so solid, in fact, that the handles that they put on it kind of remind me, or not the handles, but the joysticks or whatever they are, the detachable controls that they add to it, make me feel like I am holding my my Switch 2 with the D brand controller case and everything, with the kill switch case. So basically what I'm holding here is a really nice thick big console. If you're large-handed like me and you want a good gaming experience, it's going to be more comfortable, this is definitely going to be the way to go for you. Like I said, it's got a little bit of heft, so you can get a little tired after a bit holding it, but it's got an excellent battery life. I like to play Pal World on this guy. It's probably one of my favorite things. It's been one of my favorite games lately because it's like, man, we've been waiting for how many years now for a new Pokemon game? So that's how it feels anyway. So Pal World kind of is filling that void in the middle there, but it does it in a unique way because you get a lot more fun out of, you know, playing a game like that. For some reason Pal World needs an update. So again, here we are, we're doing some kind of transferring thing. And I actually find it really annoying that my games don't just launch when I want them to. It looks like maybe it's downloading an update because it's been a while. I don't think you're going to get this as much with the Steam Deck. This is optimized for touch. This is what I was telling you guys about before, that I think the Ally should have, is Windows actually has a mode where it's optimized for touch. So if you wanted to, like, say, check your chats, you could just swipe up from the bottom and there's your start menu. It's readily available. Instead, the Ally has all of your icons just kind of docked at the bottom. Doesn't mean you can't change that mode. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but you just can't. So that being said, moving on. As far as the mouse controls go, very responsive. And there's a little bit of haptic feedback on this guy as well, so you can kind of feel where your mouse is going. And clicking is a breeze. All you have to do is tap. So not too bad. If you want to actually get into your settings for the Legion, you just have to, let's see here, press this button up in the upper left, and then it launches your Lenovo Legion, I don't know what they call it. Yeah, so even this is downloading an update. 441 megabytes, so everything has to update. It's been a while since I've played my handheld consoles, guys. Work and YouTube content creation, it just takes so much time. It really does. But I'm not going to sit here and wait for this to download. I'll just continue to talk about the console. If you want to set it up on your desk, you don't even really need the kickstand. You can see I've got that collapsed at the moment. You can just kind of set it right there like that. And while I promise that these do disconnect, I'm going to get them disconnected for you guys so you can actually see how it works. I know that I can get this. I just don't know why I can't right now. I don't know what I'm missing here. And I've actually had them disconnected once before. But you can see this is the biggest drawback to the console, is that these are supposed to detach. They advertise that they detach, and then they don't detach easily. Yeah. So if you guys have any pointers, any of you Legion users, let me know, because it's a good console and I love playing it handheld, but it's also kind of fun to play with the controllers detached too. It gives you definitely a different experience, right? Things that come with the Legion GO. You actually get the Legion GO with the 2 controllers, right? You get a charge cord that does have a Velcro strap on it, so you can wrap that up, okay? And you don't have to worry about purchasing a strap from LTT. You actually get a pretty sweet case, all right? Now, I love this case, and the reason I love this case is because it actually allows you to charge your Legion GO inside the case. So if you want to keep your Legion safe while you charge it, it has the option right here. This little hole lines up with the bottom USB-C port and allows you to charge it while it's in its case. And it's magnetic, so it snaps back when it's not in use, and you'd never know, okay? Now, the other part that I want to show you, but I am not intelligent enough to get the controller off of the console right now, is there is a little handle for the controller that allows you to take this controller, put it in here, hold it vertically, and play it like it's a joystick for racing games and things like that. Now, for some reason, this just comes with the console. It's added on. So I think as far as if you're going to talk about value adds to the console, I would definitely say that the Legion GO has the most value adds. Even though the console is fairly heavy, it definitely comes with the most extras, I guess is the way I'll put it for you, so that you can enjoy your console without having to go buy a bunch of extra crap, because who wants to do that, right? And then also the case has this nice strap, this nice nylon strap that with the leather tip on it that sits underneath of the console when it's actually in the case, and it allows you to pull that out a little easier. Okay, now the other cases are more soft-walled. This is a more hard-walled case. So this is definitely more sturdy. If you drop your Legion, you're definitely not going to break it with it being inside of here. Now, I can't guarantee that you're not going to break it, so don't go saying, you know, oh, Brandon, the IT guy, guaranteed I wouldn't break my console if I dropped it in this case. This is just not the case. No pun intended. Alright, Legion Space Install. Sure. Okay, that's what they call it. They call it Legion Space. We'll leave this to do its thing. I'm going to make sure that kickstand is out. We'll just kind of move on to the next one. Now, if you guys have been around my channel for a little bit, you already kind of know what the next one is going to be here, because you're familiar with the reviews that I've been doing and things like that. Now, this still just pulls off, and I don't know. That was the last video I uploaded, guys, of where the D-brand case just allows your Joy-Con to be pulled off without you even touching the button in the back here, just like this, because it is what it is. I don't know why. I think it's just, like I said, I think it's the locking mechanism. But then when you get into it, you know, the Switch is its own whole different thing. The Switch has a lot of exclusives that these guys don't. Like, you can't play Mario games on any of these consoles unless you're running an emulator, and if you're running an emulator, you're likely not getting your games in the most above board fashion, right? So this game, on the other hand, you can play on pretty much any console. This is just where I bought it, because it's where I discovered it. So the Switch 2 does provide a pretty good handheld gaming experience. I really enjoy it so far. It's been a lot of fun to play different games on the Switch 2. I won't lie, I've primarily used the Switch 2 in docked mode because I just like to play it on my console, or on my big screen down here in the basement. So, I mean, I'll get some Untitled Goose Game going on the big screen and just lock this kid in the phone booth and freak him out, and it works out well. It works out well. So, handheld, the Switch 2 does offer a lot. Now, in terms of, like I said, the out-of-the-box console, how it feels without the D-brand case on it, it doesn't feel too good. It's a little heavy, it's a little weighty, and it's a little unnecessarily it's no heavier than the Legion GO, I'll tell you that. But the Legion GO makes up for it by having the grippy controllers. The controllers that suit the hand a little bit better and make everything feel just that much better, okay? So I'm gonna steal this garden tool and run it into the TV shop because screw this lady, she's a jerk. And then I'm gonna go in here and put myself on TV, honk around a little bit, and make them kick me out. And there we go. So Switch 2, like I said, there's not a lot out for it at this point. You know, you have kind of your basic stuff. If there's anything you want to play on Switch 2 that you think, oh, that's going to be fun, it's just going to be your GameCube stuff. And right now, as you probably well know, there's only 3 games available for GameCube anyway. So the experience is very limited. Oh, it says there's something new to play. What do we have added? Okay, so we're getting Mario Smash Football and Super Mario Strikers. So it looks like football and soccer. Oh no, it's soccer just twice. Okay. So we got one more thing in the library basically. But you get Soul Calibur 2, you get Zelda Wind Waker, and then you get F-Zero GX. So, which I don't know what F-Zero GX is because I didn't really have a console back then. So, but anyway, the only other exclusive really for Switch 2 is going to be Mario Kart World, and then you've got the upgraded versions of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. So currently I am just waiting until the 17th until my until Donkey Kong comes out, because that's the next thing I want to play on this. But the Switch 2, what it actually comes with and what you get. So Switch 2 has a USB-C port on the top, a headphone jack. You have a volume up and down rocker and a power button. I'm not really sure what this here is. I think it might just be a screw hole. I really don't know. Haven't looked at that. I'm not sure why there's a hole in it for the case. It could be an IR receiver. And then you've also got on the bottom another USB-C port, and it looks like maybe a couple of speaker ports, and then your fan grill is down here. So the cool case that you see on this is the D-brand Kill Switch case. Like I said, there's been some controversy about this case, but overall I really enjoy the case. It improves the handheld feel so much, and unless you're holding your controller, your Switch like a weirdo like this, you know, by one Joy-Con while you itch your nose instead of just sitting it down, you're going to have a really good experience with the Kill Switch 2 case. Or not the Kill Switch 2 case, the Kill Switch case for your Switch 2. It's ultimately a lot of fun, and you know, it just doesn't, there's not a lot available for it at this point. So most of your PC games and stuff are not available on Switch 2. You know, I think the Switch 2 just now got Cyberpunk 2077, and as you guys know, that's been available for PC for quite a while. For at least the last 5 years, I think. It came out in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. It does have a kickstand on it, just like your original Switch does. So, again, not something you have to buy or print a kickstand for if you wanted it. So overall, the Switch 2, good console, just not a lot available. I don't know if it's worth the $500 right now. It's $449 if you get the version without Mario Kart, but if you get the version without Mario Kart, you're pretty much wasting money because it's $80 to get Mario Kart on its own, whereas if you buy the version with Mario Kart, you pay $50, so there's a $30 cost savings there for the game. So, and also, you can't really mod your Switch 2, because if you do, you'll wind up getting bricked by Nintendo, and that's what nobody wants. So overall, I will say my favorite console out of all of these that I have here on hand has got to be, so far, and this is just based on my limited experience, my Steam Deck. Second, I would say my Ally. Third, I would say my Legion GO. And then fourth, I would say the Switch 2. Now, like I said, these are consoles that are in that $400 to $600 range. Of course, you can spend more if you want to. You can get the Ally X instead of the Ally. You can get a Steam Deck OLED if you want to instead of the Steam Deck LCD. You can get the new Lenovo Legion GO 8-inch, which I think is, or it's like a GoPro or something like that, but the controllers don't detach. And again, I need to figure out how the heck these do, because I really kind of irritated at that. It's obnoxious to me that they are there, but the button to detach them is so small, and it just doesn't. It feels like you should just be able to push it in and pull them out, but the mechanism just doesn't work that way. So I'm gonna get this figured out real quick. Give me just a second.
A few moments later.
Here we go. There's the reason why I can't figure it out, because it's a lot like the Switch 2 mechanism, or the original Switch mechanism, where you have to press and hold the button and then slide it down. So there's a method to it. You have to slide it down and then it detaches. So press and hold the button, slide down. So this is what I wanted to show you guys all along, which is take this, you pop it back in, and then it slides up to lock into place, and then again it slides up to lock into place, and then you can't really just pull your controller out. Now if you want to see the crazy thing I was telling you guys about with the handle here, so again, I'll push the button and I'll pull it down, and basically what happens is you see how this base here kind of fits this mold. You stick it in like so, and then you've got a controller that you can kind of joystick around with or have fun with this way. I don't really understand the purpose of this. I think personally for me it wouldn't work out too well. I'm not a fan of this whole thing, but I'm also probably not the key demographic for this. So it does feel like it's magnetic, so it at least clips to it like that. And let me just check and see if the other joystick actually does that too. Can't imagine why it wouldn't, given that. Well, it doesn't. So it's really just your right joystick that has that option. So anyway guys, like I said, if I had to rank these consoles based on my current experience level, I would say number 1 is going to be definitely Steam Deck, number 2 Ally, number 3 Legion GO, and currently at number 4 my newest console, my Switch 2. And like I said, I think the reason for the Switch 2 being my least favorite right now is just because it doesn't offer me much more than my original Switch. It just offers me Mario Kart World, and honestly, I don't think that that's really worth it. I don't play the games that are on the GameCube system, and if I really wanted to, I'd just go buy a GameCube, right? So anyway, Steam Deck has different pricing options available, and so does the Ally. You know, you can get upgraded versions of the Ally, and you can I don't know, I think I got the best version that you can get of this. I got the 1 terabyte model of the Legion GO. So, and at the time, like I said, I got an open box, and open box ones are always a great deal. So none of my open box purchases have ever failed me. So if you guys are looking for a decent deal on a handheld console and you don't want to pay a crazy amount, highly advise go open box at Best Buy. Just go peruse their open box cage, see what you can find, and ask for prices, because the worst they can say is no, or and if it's an open box item and you just want to look inside the box to see what's actually there, they can't really tell you no, because if you're going to buy it, you have to know what you're getting for the price. So thanks for watching, guys. If you like this content, go ahead, smash that like button, and hit subscribe as well, because I really want to share more videos with you guys like this, and a subscribe to the channel definitely helps achieve that. The more you guys like and subscribe, the more I know you're watching, and the more I desire to keep on making videos and working hard for you, so that you understand what's out there, what's available, and understand also how to fix it if the time comes where you might need to. We'll talk to you next time.